If you've been forgetting simple things, losing your train of thought, struggling to focus, or feeling mentally slower than usual, it's not aging, it's your hormones. Many women begin experiencing brain fog in their 30s and 40s, long before menopause officially begins. And yet, most women blame themselves, "I'm just tired, I'm getting older," or "I need to try harder." But brain fog is actually a hormone communication problem, not a memory problem, especially when estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, thyroid hormones, and blood sugar start shifting. These hormones influence your brain's energy, clarity, memory, and emotional steadiness every single day. In this video, you'll learn why hormone changes create brain fog, the early signs to watch for, and the natural, doctor-approved steps to restore mental clarity, focus, and confidence. Estrogen and progesterone, the hormonal tug-of-war, behind brain fog. If you've been forgetting simple things, losing your train of thought mid-sentence, or staring at your screen unable to focus, it's easy to assume you're getting older. But brain fog in women is rarely about aging. It's almost always about hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, sending mixed signals to your brain. Brain fog is one of the earliest and most common signs of hormonal imbalance, and it often shows up years before periods change or hot flashes begin. How estrogen shapes your thinking and memory. Estrogen is not just a reproductive hormone, it's a brain hormone. It affects memory formation, concentration, verbal fluency, mental clarity, mood, focus, and planning. Estrogen helps brain cells communicate efficiently. Imagine two Wi-Fi devices on a strong connection. That's your brain on balanced estrogen. But when estrogen levels begin to fluctuate, rising one week, dropping sharply the next, that connection becomes unstable. Women often feel this as trouble concentrating, losing words, slower mental processing, difficulty multitasking, feeling mentally tired even when physically rested. This is classic estrogen fluctuation fog. Why estrogen fluctuates so dramatically. This usually begins in the late 30s to mid-40s, long before menopause. Your ovaries start sending irregular hormone signals, causing estrogen to spike too high, drop too low, swing unpredictably. Your brain struggles to adjust to each shift. This isn't loss of ability, it's loss of hormonal stability. How progesterone drop makes brain fog worse. Progesterone is your brain's calming, stabilizing hormone. It supports deep sleep, memory consolidation, steady mood, reduced anxiety, clear focus. When progesterone drops, which is common after 35 due to weaker ovulation, you experience restless sleep, mental fatigue, difficulty focusing under stress, forgetfulness, racing thoughts. Estrogen gives your brain power. Progesterone gives your brain calm. When both fluctuate, brain fog becomes unavoidable. Common signs hormonal shifts are causing your brain fog. You may notice forgetting why you walked into a room, struggling to find words, losing your train of thought, trouble recalling names, difficulty organizing tasks, feeling mentally slow in the morning, zoning out easily, overwhelming or scattered thinking. These symptoms often come in waves, better some weeks, worse others, because hormones are fluctuating, not permanently declining. Why this isn't aging and why your brain can recover. Brain fog feels scary because it mimics early cognitive decline, but it isn't. Hormonal brain fog is reversible, manageable, predictable, often the first sign of perimenopause. And once hormones stabilize, naturally or through lifestyle changes, clarity returns. This is why many women say, "I feel like myself again." How to support estrogen and progesterone for clearer thinking. 1. Balance your blood sugar. Stable glucose equals stable brain chemistry. 2. Prioritize sleep. Progesterone production increases with deep rest. 3. Don't skip meals. Skipping meals worsens estrogen swings and cortisol spikes. 4. Add omega-3 rich foods. Salmon, walnuts, chia, essential for brain cell communication. 5. Manage stress daily. Stress blocks progesterone and worsens fog. 6. Add magnesium plus B vitamins. Support brain function and hormone metabolism. 7. Include phytoestrogens, moderate amounts. Flaxseed, soy, chickpeas help smooth estrogen fluctuations. Brain fog is not aging, it's your brain reacting to changing estrogen and progesterone signals. When you support hormone stability through consistent daily habits, nutrition, and stress management, your focus returns, your memory improves, and your clarity comes back stronger than before. Estrogen fluctuations. Why your brain feels offline, even with normal levels. If you've ever walked into a room and forgotten why, or stared at your phone wondering what you were about to do, or felt mentally foggy even though you slept well, you may assume it's aging, but it's not. For most women, this kind of brain fog is a direct result of estrogen fluctuations, not memory decline. Your brain depends on steady estrogen signals to think clearly, focus, and remember things. When those signals rise and fall, especially during your 30s, 40s, and perimenopause, your mind feels slower, distracted, or overloaded. How estrogen supports your brain. Estrogen affects more brain functions than most people realize. It helps sharpen memory, maintain attention, regulate mood, support clear thinking, enhance learning, reduce inflammation in the brain. When estrogen is steady, your brain feels sharp and focused. When estrogen jumps up and down, your brain feels foggy, even if numbers look normal on a test. Why fluctuations, not low estrogen, cause brain fog? Many women are told their estrogen is fine, but the real issue is instability, not deficiency. 1. Estrogen drops. Suddenly, instant fog. When estrogen dips quickly, the brain loses its usual support. This leads to slower recall, feeling forgetful, losing your train of thought, struggling with names or words. This is classic perimenopause brain fog. 2. Estrogen spikes, mental overload. High estrogen can make your brain feel too busy. You may notice racing thoughts, trouble focusing, sensory overwhelm, emotional intensity. This often happens mid-cycle or during hormone fluctuation years. 3. Estrogen influences neurotransmitters. Estrogen helps regulate serotonin, mood, calm, emotional stability; dopamine, motivation, focus, memory; acetylcholine, learning and recall. When estrogen dips, these chemicals dip too, creating brain fog symptoms that feel like burnout or anxiety. 4. Blood sugar and estrogen interact. Unstable blood sugar makes estrogen swings hit harder. This is why skipping meals, eating sugary breakfasts, drinking coffee on an empty stomach can worsen brain fog instantly. 5. Estrogen protects brain energy. The brain runs on glucose. Estrogen helps your brain use energy efficiently. When levels fluctuate, your brain uses energy less effectively, leading to fatigue and mental fog. Signs your brain fog is estrogen related. You may notice forgetting appointments, losing track mid-conversation, walking into a room with no idea why, feeling mentally slow or disconnected, struggling to find words, feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks, difficulty focusing or switching between tasks. These are hormone signs, not aging signs. How to support clear thinking during estrogen fluctuations. 1. Stabilize blood sugar, the fastest fix. Balanced meals improve estrogen-brain communication. 2. Eat enough protein. Supports neurotransmitters that keep memory sharp. 3. Add omega-3 foods. helps reduce inflammation and support cognitive function. 4. Prioritize sleep. Your brain resets estrogen receptors during sleep. 5. Reduce caffeine spikes. Coffee on an empty stomach disrupts estrogen blood sugar balance. 6. Manage stress gently. Cortisol worsens estrogen swings and reduces mental clarity. 7. Move your body daily. Walking increases blood flow to the brain and improves cognitive sharpness. Brain fog isn't aging, it's your brain responding to estrogen fluctuations. When estrogen rises and falls, your brain's energy, clarity, and memory shift too. By stabilizing blood sugar, improving sleep, reducing stress, and supporting your neurotransmitters with nourishing foods, you can dramatically reduce brain fog and feel mentally sharper, calmer, and more focused. Cortisol and stress. The hidden reason. Your brain feels foggy. If your brain feels slow, scattered, or easily overwhelmed, especially on busy days, stress may be the real cause. Not the big dramatic kind of stress, but the quiet, constant daily overload that changes your hormones without you realizing it. And cortisol, your main stress hormone, has a direct, powerful effect on memory, focus, clarity, and mental sharpness. Most women think brain fog is aging, but for many, it's actually cortisol interfering with how the brain processes information. How stress creates hormonal brain fog. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol to help you cope. But when cortisol stays high or spikes repeatedly, it disrupts memory centers, focus pathways, thinking speed, emotional processing, sleep cycles, blood sugar regulation, all of which lead to the classic brain fog symptoms women describe. Here's how it happens. 1. Cortisol blocks. Your brain's memory center, the hippocampus. The hippocampus is responsible for recalling names, remembering what you walked into a room for, staying organized, learning new things. When cortisol is high, the hippocampus becomes less active. This leads to forgetfulness, losing your train of thought, difficulty finding words, trouble following conversations. Women often say, "I feel like my brain isn't catching up." 2. Cortisol makes your thoughts race but harder to organize. You know that feeling where your mind is full but unfocused? That's cortisol causing fragmented thoughts, difficulty prioritizing, mental exhaustion, irritability. Your brain is in survival mode, not thinking mode. 3. Cortisol increases blood sugar spikes, more brain fog. Stress raises blood sugar. Blood sugar swings lead to sudden fatigue, mood dips, foggy thinking, cravings, afternoon crashes. Women often mistake this for low iron or bad sleep, but it's hormonal. 4. Cortisol disrupts sleep, which disrupts clarity. Cortisol rises at the wrong times, especially at night when you're stressed. This leads to waking at 2 to 4 a.m. lighter, broken sleep, difficulty falling asleep, waking unrefreshed. Even one night of poor sleep reduces cognitive function the next day. 5. Cortisol sensitizes your nervous system. That brain feels too full sensation, that's your nervous system becoming overwhelmed by noise, multitasking, emotional tension, overstimulation. When your nervous system is tired, your brain feels foggy. Signs your brain, fog is cortisol-driven. You notice forgetfulness, trouble concentrating, irritability, sensitivity to noise, difficulty finishing tasks, mental fatigue in the afternoon, feeling overwhelmed easily, cravings during stress, fogginess that worsens with poor sleep. These are stress patterns, not aging. How to reduce cortisol to clear brain fog, doctor approved. You don't need hours of meditation, just daily micro habits. 1. Eat something within 1 hour of waking. This immediately lowers cortisol. A protein-rich breakfast stabilizes your mood and mental clarity. 2. Use slow exhales throughout the day. Exhale for longer than you inhale, 4 in, 6 out. This calms the brain and resets cortisol in under 60 seconds. 3. Lower caffeine load. Caffeine on an empty stomach spikes cortisol and worsens brain fog. 4. Build focus windows. Work in 25 to 45-minute blocks, then take a 2 to 5 minute break. This reduces cognitive overload. 5. Stabilize blood sugar. Balanced meals equals fewer cortisol spikes equals clearer thinking. 6. Gentle movement. Walking, stretching, or light yoga reduces cortisol quickly. 7. Evening wind-down routine. Signals the brain to reduce cortisol before sleep. Cortisol is one of the biggest and most overlooked causes of brain fog in women. When stress rises, it shifts your brain into survival mode, disrupting memory, focus, and clarity. With steady meals, calmer mornings, better sleep habits, and small nervous system resets, you can dramatically improve mental clarity and reclaim the sharp, focused mind you still have. Thyroid and estrogen, the fatigue-brain fog connection. If you feel tired even after a full night's sleep, if your thinking feels slower, heavier, or foggy, if simple tasks suddenly feel overwhelming, your thyroid may be involved even if your blood tests look normal. And during perimenopause and menopause, the thyroid becomes one of the most sensitive hormone glands in your body. Thyroid health and estrogen levels are deeply connected. When estrogen fluctuates, your thyroid hormones struggle to stay balanced, leading to brain fog, slowed thinking, and unexplainable fatigue. Why your thyroid becomes more sensitive after 40. Your thyroid controls energy, metabolism, and cognitive speed. But after 40, estrogen levels start fluctuating, and this affects how your thyroid hormones travel through your body. Estrogen changes can slow thyroid hormone conversion, disrupt how cells receive thyroid hormones, reduce brain energy, increase fatigue, worsen memory and focus. This is why brain fog becomes more noticeable during perimenopause. How estrogen affects thyroid hormone activity. Thyroid hormones, T4 and T3, act like fuel for your brain. Estrogen helps regulate how that fuel is delivered and used. When estrogen drops or swings, thyroid hormones become less efficient. Your brain receives less fuel. Thinking becomes slower. Multitasking becomes harder. Memory feels unreliable. Many women describe this as, "I'm not sharp like I used to be." Thyroid symptoms that show up as brain fog. You may notice low morning energy, trouble concentrating, feeling mentally slow, memory lapses, difficulty finding words, feeling cold easily, dry skin or hair changes, constipation, unexplained weight changes. These are thyroid signals, not aging. The blood sugar connection. Thyroid hormones also depend on balanced blood sugar. If meals are irregular or carb-heavy, T3 becomes less active. Cortisol rises, brain fog worsens, fatigue lasts all day. Stable blood sugar equals more stable thyroid function. How stress makes thyroid brain fog worse. High cortisol slows conversion of T4 to T3, your most active thyroid hormone. This leads to slower thinking, mental exhaustion, low motivation, wired but tired feelings. This is why brain fog often spikes during stressful weeks. Doctor-approved ways to support thyroid and reduce brain fog. You don't need extreme diets or supplements, just consistent habits. 1. Eat enough protein daily. Your thyroid needs amino acids for hormone production. Aim for protein at every meal. 2. Add selenium-rich foods. Selenium helps convert T4 into active T3. Great sources: Brazil nuts, 1 to 2 daily. Eggs, sardines, tuna. 3. Support estrogen balance. Fiber and phytoestrogens, flaxseed, chickpeas, lentils, help stabilize estrogen swings, better thyroid function. 4. Reduce stress load. Short daily calming practices improve thyroid efficiency. 5. Balance blood sugar. Protein plus fiber plus healthy fats help thyroid hormones work properly. 6. Add iodine safely through food. Seaweed snacks, iodized salt, eggs, small amounts support thyroid health. 7. Prioritize deep sleep. Thyroid hormone regulation happens at night. Protect your sleep window. Your brain fog is not aging. It's the combined effect of estrogen swings, thyroid sensitivity, stress, and blood sugar imbalance. When you support your thyroid with nourishing foods, steady routines, and gentle hormone care, your mind becomes clearer, your energy returns, and daily tasks feel easier again. Blood sugar swings, the silent trigger, behind brain fog, cravings, and afternoon crashes. If you feel sharp and focused in the morning, but foggy, slow, distracted, or exhausted by early afternoon, your blood sugar may be the real cause, not your age, not your memory, and not your brain. Blood sugar swings are one of the most overlooked hormone-related triggers of brain fog in women, especially after 35. When your glucose rises too quickly or drops too fast, your brain feels it immediately. Why blood sugar affects your brain so strongly. Your brain uses glucose as its main fuel. When glucose is steady, you feel calm, focused, and mentally clear. When glucose swings up and down, your brain struggles to keep up, and brain fog hits fast. After 35 to 40, hormonal shifts make women more sensitive to these swings. 1. Estrogen decline reduces glucose stability. Estrogen helps your cells use glucose efficiently. When estrogen fluctuates in your 30s and 40s, your brain becomes more vulnerable to blood sugar spikes. This causes afternoon fog, irritability, cravings, energy crashes, trouble concentrating. Even small imbalances can feel big. 2. Cortisol makes glucose swing more widely. Stress raises glucose automatically, even if you haven't eaten sugar. High cortisol causes sharp rises in glucose, sudden drops afterward, brain fog, cravings, overwhelmed feelings. If your fog gets worse on stressful days, cortisol is involved. 3. Uneven meal timing creates brain energy gaps. Skipping meals, eating too late, or having low-protein breakfasts leads to shaky hunger, foggy thinking, emotional sensitivity, irritability. Your brain can't perform well without steady fuel. 4. Sleep deprivation worsens blood sugar response. One bad night of sleep makes your body more insulin resistant the next day. This means your brain feels sluggish even after a full breakfast. Symptoms of blood sugar-driven brain fog. These patterns point directly to glucose imbalance, afternoon fog, or fatigue. Needing sugar or carbs to focus. Irritability when hungry, shaky or anxious between meals. Difficulty making decisions, mental heaviness after certain foods. This isn't willpower, it's physiology. How to stabilize blood sugar for a clearer mind. These are doctor-approved, simple daily strategies. 1. Start the day with protein. 20 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast stabilizes your glucose for hours. Examples: eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, nuts, salmon. 2. Build balanced meals. Every meal should include protein, fiber, healthy fat, slow carbs. This prevents rapid spikes. 3. Avoid sugary breakfasts. Cereal, pastries, fruit-only bowls led to early crashes and fog. 4. Add a 10-minute walk after meals. This lowers glucose naturally and improves focus. 5. Reduce caffeine on an empty stomach. Coffee before food spikes cortisol, fog increases. 6. Eat regularly, don't skip meals. Long gaps increase cortisol and destabilize glucose. 7. Add magnesium-rich foods. Magnesium improves insulin sensitivity. Examples: leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, almonds. 8. Stay hydrated. Dehydration worsens glucose swings. Brain fog is not just a brain issue, it's a blood sugar communication problem. When glucose swings, your brain suffers first. By stabilizing meals, avoiding long fasting windows, adding protein, and managing stress, you can dramatically improve mental clarity, energy, and emotional steadiness. Your brain feels clearer when your blood sugar feels steadier. Sleep, stress, and the brain: why your nights decide your next day clarity. If your brain fog is worse after a bad night of sleep. If you wake up groggy no matter how many hours you were in bed. If simple tasks feel harder the morning after stress. There's a powerful hormonal reason. Your brain restores its clarity, memory, and focus during sleep, and menopause disrupts that process. Brain fog isn't a sign of aging. It's a sign that your sleep hormones, stress hormones, and cognitive repair systems are not syncing the way they used to. How sleep shapes your cognitive clarity. Your brain relies on deep sleep and REM, sleep too. Clear out metabolic waste. Reset your nervous system. Repair the hippocampus, memory center. Restore neurotransmitters. Regulate mood. Boost focus and verbal fluency. When sleep is disrupted, even slightly, brain fog becomes unavoidable. During perimenopause and menopause, estrogen and progesterone fluctuate, and both heavily influence sleep depth and stability. 1. Estrogen decline affects REM sleep. REM sleep is where emotional processing and memory sorting happen. Low estrogen leads to lighter REM cycles, more nighttime awakenings, difficulty consolidating information, slower verbal recall. This is why many women say, "I can't find the right words lately." 2. Low progesterone reduces. Deep sleep. Progesterone has a natural calming effect. When levels fall, you may experience restless sleep, difficulty falling asleep, shallow breathing at night, increased nighttime anxiety, waking feeling unrefreshed. This leads to morning brain fog, even after 7 to 8 hours in bed. 3. Cortisol, stress hormone, disrupts nighttime brain repair. If cortisol rises at night due to stress, overthinking, blood sugar drops, or nighttime stimulation, your brain enters alert mode. Consequences include racing thoughts, 2 to 4 a.m. awakenings, overheating, inability to return to sleep, anxiety or irritability upon waking. High nighttime cortisol blocks the brain's ability to detox and reset. 4. Blood sugar swings trigger. Overnight brain fog. If your dinner is too light, too sugary, or too unbalanced, your blood sugar can crash during the night. This leads to adrenaline surges, night sweats, sudden waking, morning grogginess. Your brain cannot complete deep cleansing cycles when glucose levels are unstable. 5. Inflammation slows. Cognitive processing. Inflammation rises during hormonal shifts and poor sleep, affecting neurotransmitters like dopamine, motivation, serotonin, mood, acetylcholine, memory. Inflammation-driven brain fog feels like slower thinking, difficulty multitasking, forgetfulness, low motivation, mental fatigue. How to improve sleep and reduce brain fog, doctor approved. 1. Eat a balanced dinner. Protein plus fiber plus healthy fats support stable blood sugar overnight. 2. Add an optional light evening snack. Prevents nighttime glucose dips that disrupt sleep. 3. Reduce screens 1 hour before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin and worsens brain fog. 4. Create a calming nightly wind down. Slow breathing, stretching, warm showers all lower nighttime cortisol. 5. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. Menopause increases heat sensitivity. Cooler rooms improve deep sleep. 6. Add magnesium-rich foods. Magnesium supports relaxation and deeper sleep cycles. 7. Avoid late-night multitasking. Mental stimulation overstimulates your nervous system. Your sleep quality determines how clear, focused, and mentally sharp you feel the next day. Hormonal shifts in menopause disrupt sleep patterns, not because your brain is aging, but because your sleep hormones, stress hormones, and nervous system are recalibrating. With the right nighttime habits, you can dramatically reduce brain fog and wake up feeling more mentally refreshed and steady. Conclusion: brain fog isn't a sign that you're getting older or losing mental sharpness, it's your hormones asking for support. When estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, insulin, thyroid hormones, and your gut all shift, your brain feels the impact long before blood tests show anything unusual. Forgetfulness, slower thinking, the difficulty concentrating, mental fatigue, these are all signs of hormonal miscommunication, not decline. The good news is that your brain can become clearer, calmer, and more focused again with consistent daily habits that support your hormones, your sleep, your stress levels, and your metabolic health. Small changes truly make a big difference. Educational only, not medical advice. If this helped, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching.